I want to briefly apologize to our audience because in our coverage over the last few weeks of the Democratic primary, we've been really distracted by Mike Bloomberg's horrific track record as mayor of New York and his horrific statements, when we should have been covering things that some random person on Twitter who might not even be an actual human was saying that's mean about Biden or something. That's according to most of the people in the Democratic primary. Bernie Sanders supporters talking smack online, that's the big issue. And we're gonna go through some of the responses from Dem primary candidates about this issue. But we're joined once again by Jordan Ewell, progressive activist. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, John.
Have you seen this? Have you seen what these people are saying on Twitter, Jordan?
Oh, John, of course I have. I haven't slept in weeks. I'm deeply alarmed about the way millionaires and billionaires are being treated on Twitter. Talk to my therapist weekly about it. I'm just deeply upset. I'm so thankful we're talking about this now.
Yeah, and look, I understand if anybody's making death threats or anything, obviously that's totally unacceptable and also totally uncontrollable by another person who doesn't control them or the sock puppet network of bots that's being operated. It's ridiculous. But anyway, let's go through some of what the Democratic primary contenders are saying. Joe Biden was quoted as saying, "You know me well enough to know that if any of my supporters did that, i.e. attacked the Nevada Culinary Union after they didn't endorse Bernie Sanders, I'd disown them, flat disown them. The stuff that was said online, the way they threatened these two women who are leaders in that culinary union, it is outrageous." So after they put out this statement about the candidates saying that Bernie would cancel culinary healthcare if he got Medicare-for-all passed, which is obviously nonsense. Some people that are not employees for Bernie Sanders' campaign, they're not surrogates, they're not anything, tweeted mean things, including apparently doxing individuals. And so Joe Biden is now leaping on this as an inroads to attack Bernie Sanders.
Well, yeah, these types of stories, these Bernie bro stories, and online supporter harassment, it's ultimately just because they have nothing else to hit Sanders with. They tried the few weeks of Oppo where it was like Bernie Sanders said something weird that didn't age well, but he said it in 1972. Is this disqualifying? It just shows the desperation that they have with him because they can't really attack him on substance because his voting record is pretty great. He hasn't really flip-flopped in 30 years. So they have to resort to these types of things like attacking alleged supporters. So for Joe Biden, my question is, your supporters are Wall Street executives who profited while everyone else in the country struggled during the 2008 financial collapse. Are you going to condemn him or condemn them? Are you going to tell your supporters to stop engaging in predatory loans, to stop profiting off of people's misfortune in the financial industry? Like, or if someone else takes a loss and your supporters gain, are you going to condemn them? So I think these tactics are disingenuous because there's obviously Sanders has no control over what a complete stranger posts online. But they have nothing else really to hit Sanders with. So we see this kind of glomming on to this narrative because they think it sticks.
And it's not just coming from Biden. So Mike Bloomberg had released this ad, literally screenshotting random people on Twitter who are apparently abusive. Some of them, the tweets had hashtag Yang Gang in them, which seems like a tip-off that they're not Bernie Sanders supporters. They might be supportive of another candidate. I don't know who, but maybe one. But anyway, since then, Bernie has been very critical of Mike Bloomberg. And so Mike Bloomberg's campaign manager released a statement titled "Bernie's New Bro, Donald Trump," because Donald Trump has criticized Bloomberg and Bernie has criticized Bloomberg. So Bernie and Donald Trump are now bros. What do you think?
The Bloomberg campaign doing this is just so bizarre. The video itself, I do want to say, I think sets a dangerous precedent because I don't think presidential campaigns should be singling out private people like that, no matter what they say online. Like, you can think it's bad, but putting that type of stuff in a nationally syndicated, nationally broadcast advertisement is deeply alarming, and we really should point that out. Like this, the Bernie bro narrative aside, you really shouldn't be singling out private supporters or private people if you were running a national campaign. Super alarming.
Yeah, and so in response to that, I just want to briefly say, because I enjoyed this, Bernie Sanders tweeted, no caption, just a photo of Mike Bloomberg with Donald Trump. And there have been many going around because they did actually hang out at parties and go golfing together and all of that stuff. So far as I know, Bernie Sanders has never had a fun little day with Donald Trump. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.